$1 doesn't get you very far anymore, especially in Hawaii. There's not a lot you can buy here for $1, in fact, pretty much nothing. So, what's the best way that you could spend $1 on your trip to Hawaii? What if I told you that for just $1 you could get entrance to a national park, access to an absolutely world-class museum, a beautiful boat ride through a harbor, and get to experience and learn about one of the most pivotal moments in all of US history? All that for just $1. I think it's the best deal on Hawaii, and I think it's one of the most important things that you can do while you're here.
We went to Pearl Harbor last week, and we honestly learned so much and had a really, really nice time learning about such an important part of our history that doesn't often get shared a lot. A lot of people have probably seen the movie Pearl Harbor, starred, I think, Ben Affleck.
I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have heard about Pearl Harbor in passing, but how many of you actually know the history and the impact that Pearl Harbor had on the US and all the countries that were involved in World War II?
And just getting to see it in person really made me understand it just a lot more, and it felt like I was connected more to the story.
Living in Hawaii exposes you to many different things: foods, cultures, languages. But one of the best parts about visiting Pearl Harbor for me personally was being able to understand the context in which Pearl Harbor impacted many different people.
We don't want to get too deep into what you actually learn once you get there. We think that's better told by all these exhibits and the people there that work there that had all these great stories. But the part that we can help you with is telling you how to get in and out and have a great time while you're there. First of all, how to get entrance for $1. All you have to do is go to recreation.gov and make a reservation right there on the website. It costs just $1, and it gets you access to the entirety of all the museum exhibits and everything else in the park, as well as the ride out to the USS Arizona Memorial and back.
This process that we're describing is just for the USS Arizona Memorial tour. Now, when we say visit recreation.gov and say make a reservation, it sounds simple, but it's actually a little bit more challenging than you might expect. Tickets are released every 3 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. You have to refresh your browser right on the 3 p.m. dot to make sure that those tickets are available that you want to reserve. Tickets are reservable in time slots. There's a certain amount allotted for each time slot, specifically for the USS Memorial boat tour.
These tickets are such a good deal that they sell out almost instantly, so you have to be there right at 2:59 p.m. the day before that you want to go, ready to click that button. And we almost didn't get ours. So let's say that you're waiting there, you refresh, and then boom, all of a sudden they're all sold out. You missed out on your chance. What we did is we just waited a couple minutes. Some people messed up their credit card information, or some people just didn't complete the full process and finish their reservation, and a couple opened up. Luckily, this was about 15 or 20 minutes later, and then you could click the reserve button. It seems like these new tickets kind of cropped up randomly throughout the day, but if you have a big group, your only shot is just going to be waiting there at 2:59 and just mad clicking that button until you can get your reservation in.
It used to be that you could go to Pearl Harbor and get your tickets first come, first serve. But now I think with COVID-19, those restrictions have changed, so people are encouraged to use recreation.gov to get their tickets in advance. But again, don't fret if those tickets don't look like they're available. Just wait maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Some tickets will become available over time.
Yep, and we're going to put the links for everything down below, so if you're not sure which website we're talking about or anything like that, we're going to put that all in the description box down below.
So even if you don't have a reservation, you can still go to Pearl Harbor and show up at the theater where the USS Arizona Memorial tour takes off and be put on a standby list. So don't fret if you don't get any reservations. There is still a chance that if you show up at Pearl Harbor, you might be able to get onto the boat.
We went on a Monday, just kind of in the middle of the day, and it was super busy. There were people waiting in line there for a very long time, and they were starting to turn people away. I'd really recommend you get a reservation. Okay, now once you get a reservation, this is where things get a little more complicated. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna walk in the front gates, and when you walk in, you're not gonna be able to bring any bags or any even kind of big camera. They were enforcing these rules kind of randomly, but the thing that they enforced on everyone was absolutely no bags. Leave that stuff in the car.
If you do choose to use their bag storage, it's $6 per purse. So avoid that.
Once you get in, there's going to be absolutely no sign or signal or anybody pointing you in the right direction. And it can be easy to kind of show up to your reservation a little bit late because you're not sure exactly where to go. This almost happened to us. What you do is you go right in the front door, past the bag check, and then you're going to take a left. And this left is going to bring you all the way down to the end of the park, right where the theater is. And the theater is where you get on the boat to go to the USS Arizona Memorial. While you're waiting for the reservation to start, you can walk around to these various museum exhibits, all of which were absolutely great and really help tell the story and give context of the important and infamous thing that happened here. And honestly, we would recommend setting aside at least a couple hours to walk through all these exhibits. There's a lot of great stories, videos, and people there to talk to ask questions. Okay, so once you make your way to the theater, you're gonna see this large mass of people all standing around, nobody really sure what to do. What you're gonna do there is you're gonna pull up your reservation on your phone or your printed out tickets, and you're gonna walk right up to the front here. And you're gonna say, "I'm here," because if you don't, they're just gonna give your spot away to somebody else. This happened to us. We got there right on time, but by the time that we got there, they had already given away our seats. We showed up at 10:40, and that was apparently too late for our 10:45 reservation.
So we're on standby.
Really recommend getting there at a minimum 15 minutes early, and then make sure that you physically check in with the people up front, or else they have no idea that you're there. Or else you're just gonna end up waiting around and just kind of hoping that a seat becomes available, which honestly, there was a pretty long wait list when we got put on it, and I think it'll be about the same when you get here.
So regarding COVID restrictions, masks are required upon entry to the park and required all throughout the park, including the boat tour. You'll notice too when you get to the Pearl Harbor Theater that you won't actually be sitting in the theater watching a movie. There used to be a historical film on the attack of Pearl Harbor. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, they are no longer showing this movie in the theaters. You're still able to see it on the other side of the park, but that's just one thing to keep in mind.
And then you're gonna hop on the boat.
We made it!
They're gonna bring you out to the USS Arizona Memorial. It's a beautiful memorial, and there's lots of great stories out there, and just being able to see the wreckage and things like that, it really helps connect with the experience of the museum. And then once your time is over there, you hop back on the boat, head back, and then you can go see the USS Missouri, which is right there, or you can go and hop on this amazing submarine tour right next door for just a couple more bucks. Or just do what we did and just go spend more time in all these museum exhibits and just around the park in general. It's such a beautiful location to be at, and you definitely won't be wasting your time learning a lot more about this important event. I would really recommend talking to some of these attendants and these other people who are there. They're experts on the subject. They know more than anyone else, and they'll be able to kind of fill in the gaps for you. They'll really be able to help give you all this additional context and all these great stories and anecdotes that I think will really help fill out the experience.
One of my favorite parts about visiting Pearl Harbor was being able to hear all sides of the story of the Pearl Harbor attack. Not just the US military's experience, but the Japanese military experience, as well as those that were living in Hawaii at the time. I think the exhibits do a really good job of providing context and perspective from all those individuals who were impacted by this devastating attack. We just think this is something that everyone should experience for themselves. For us, this was a very impactful trip, and it was an amazing time to be able to learn about the history.
Yeah, we think it's just something that you have to experience for yourself. So that's the best $1 that we think that you can spend on your entire trip here to Hawaii. You're gonna get to learn so much and get to understand why this event was so important and really get to connect with the story of this place. And we think that that's really important, especially because of how important it is to the history of Hawaii. So please, before you leave Hawaii, spend a couple hours, spend the $1, go and see the Pearl Harbor Memorial. You can't miss it. $1 doesn't get you very... What? Oh God, you don't like this.
No, what?
Oh, your face said you were upset.
I didn't say anything.
Okay. You could get all this.
Do it again. You got this.
Just $1. It's so floppy. Dollars are horrible props. They move around all over the place. They flop all. It's just too floppy. All right.
Visiting and living in. Even if you don't have, even if you don't has a, even if you don't get a, even if you don't get a, you choose to use. And this is just for. This is just if you're. This is just. Okay.
This is just... That's it.
Hi, kitty. What do you got to tell us? So many things to say.